Kasuku ebigambo bigenda mubule era Kasuku namugambye dda bukyanga olya binyonyi. Leero mpa abaana ekaye. Genda omuyekero omutunuulire maaso omulabe. Gwona anyumiza bulijjo abamu ekyangirako nti anirule.
The question I have is about digital media, Your Excellency. Today I don't want to brag, but I'm one of the biggest YouTubers in this country.
In Kenya, the rates are between $2 to $4. When you come to Uganda, the rates are between 0.80 to like $2. That's really, really less when it comes to like how the Americans are paid. So my question to Musei would be, now, according to how these countries are paid, what can be done for us Ugandan creators to also earn as much as those other countries earn? How do you collaborate with these companies that own our creative ability, like YouTube, like Facebook? How do you collaborate with them to make sure that your people in Uganda earn much better?
Kasuku ebigambo bigenda mubule era Kasuku namugambye dda bukyanga olya binyonyi. Leero mpa abaana ekaye. Genda omuyekero omutunuulire maaso omulabe. Gwona anyumiza bulijjo abamu ekyangirako nti anirule. Agenda mutunuulira bw'ati bw'otuuka mu State House basooka ne bakutuuza essaawa nga 2 ng'akatebe kakubuguma kakwokya tannajja. N'obeera awo oba oli awo nga gusse n'essaati y'enjeru zino zaakolera ejjinja. Nakugamba ati Museveni tayogera atandika
Ready for that chance meeting a President Museveni one-on-one with Papa. Alinjogerako bwogezi kyavubuka basabiriza. Ekyo kyo. State House balingamba toddanga. Ne ready mu meeting a one-on-one. Mwagazaayo miliyoni. Buli kyali 10 kati.
Kakati, mweba guy. Ekiriwo kino. Kasuku has gone to the State House finally. And he has looked Musei into the eyes and he was like, here's my question. Asose kutumira abantu be bonna, natumira Zubeda, natumira mukyala we, natumira abaana be, natumira ba Sharon bonna, and everything. I have quite a number of things to say about this. Let's go.
The question I have is about digital media, Your Excellency. Today I don't want to brag, but I'm one of the biggest YouTubers in this country. In real time here, we had over 10,000 people before we went off that we are watching on Kasuku Live. So that means it is something very big. For the youth,
Ololo aluseke ngambe ali mukuyisaawo nti nyina abantu bashitompita ku campaign.
we are making money off these platforms. Like you can see, Natasha is here with her phone and a stand. And today you're talking to over 2 million, 3 million, 5 million Ugandans with all of us combined. But we have not yet seen government involvement in supporting us. We are not talking of supporting us in terms of giving us money because we are making the money. Of course, courtesy of the environment the government has placed for us to be able to work. But we are seeing issues like the cost of internet is high. We are seeing platforms like YouTube being shut down. A very good example I'll give you. Today we have people on TikTok, like all of these. If you ask these people where they were 3 years ago, they were putting on suits, going to offices to ask for jobs. Today they will tell you they are able to make 3 million shillings a month and they feed their families. So we are trying to find out how do we get the government to support the digital space? How do we get government to enhance, to understand from the things you've been explaining to us, farming and all of this, the digital space brings us closer. It connects us, the farmers, the manufacturers, but we are not seeing government coming up to tell us or even to understand what the digital space is.
Okay, so if I was Kasuku, I would have probably... Okay, he asked the question in a very normal way, in a way. And then Musei also answered him in a very Kasuku way. He told him that you are an influencer, what are you influencing and all that. And then he told him that fiber later internet, like it was like fast satellite, and then we went into cable fiber, whatever. Ita simanye Europe, now ita South Africa, now ita Mombasa. That's the reason why it's even like way cheaper. And we are going to look into the reason why it's not way cheaper than it is right now. Now, if it was me in that position asking Musei a question, because I understand Kasuku was asking from the creator economy, how do you make sure that we earn better than we do today? The creator economy, I'm talking about people who use Snapchat, people who use Instagram, people who use Facebook, people who use YouTube, people who use, what are the other apps? Twitch, whatever. I don't think Ugandans use Twitch. Anyway, if I was the one asking that question to Musei, I would have asked him, I would give him the comparison. In Kenya, people are paid more better when it comes to, let me say, YouTube than Uganda. In Kenya, the rates are between $2 to $4. When you come to Uganda, the rates are between 0.80 to like $2. That's really, really less when it comes to like how the Americans are paid. So my question to Musei would be, now, according to how these countries are paid, what can be done for us Ugandan creators to also earn as much as those other countries earn? How do you collaborate with these companies that own our creative ability, like YouTube, like Facebook? How do you collaborate with them to make sure that your people in Uganda earn much better? That would be a much better question that you would actually receive response in regards to what you want to know. Like government, egenda tuyambe kuberanga to receiving just about the same payment like other countries. How do we make sure that we get YouTube and all these other services here? How do we make sure that these companies that pretty much rule the world in AI also get established here? Because in the future, creator economy is going to be one of the biggest economies in the world. If you didn't know that, now you know. That's why you should subscribe. Subscribing now. You know why? Because you get information that you would never get from any other YouTube channel in Uganda. Sorry, yeah. Okay, let's continue. Some of the other questions that were asked from Zay were about Venezuela, what's happening there, how the US got in and took Maduro out. Now, Maduro came into power in 2013 and he has been ruling. Recently, they had an election and there were fraud in there. And then he lost. So the US took him out. Musei was like, we are still sort of like looking into the issue. We don't really know what's happening, but we will see how it unfolds. And then some of the other questions were the East African community. And then he talked about how China has about 1.4 billion people as market. But China in Africa to also get our little market that we have of about 20 million people who can actually afford Chinese products and stuff like that. And then also there is another dude who asked him how Uganda shouldn't be left behind in a way when it comes to like AI and the future of the world. And then he was like, Africa just needs to integrate so that to see that the moment Africa integrates, which is likely to never happen, that's how Uganda and African countries can never be left behind in a way. But it most likely doesn't look like it will ever happen for Africa to unite. One of the most interesting things I saw was the dude called Sean, who was like, I'm 30 years old and I thank you, Musei, and if I can take off my years I give to you, so that you be around. That was funny because to me, it just looked very cringe. Now, in conclusion, me as a creator, I feel like I was not as represented as I wanted to. Sigamba no Kasuku teyabuza chibuzo cha inabuza. He asked the question he had to ask about digital media. But I feel like we didn't really get the answer as it would be. Like, what is the future of Uganda when it comes to digital creation? What is the future of Uganda when it comes to AI? And how are we going to integrate with the world when it comes to the cost of all these creative equipment and stuff like that? Most people don't understand this, but America is what it is because of the creative media. People think about America the way it is because they watch some stuff that they used to watch from like the 90s, 80s, the early 2000s, and up to date. America has been defined by the media. So can we have Ugandan leadership also look at the Ugandan media as something that can define Uganda in a way, something that can go into tourism, something that can go into all government parastatals and government entities to be able to define them for the community first, and then how the outside world are going to see us. Thank you for watching. If you think this was a valuable video, that you got some information that you probably never knew about, please subscribe, and see you in the next one. Peace.